Welcome to the Love That For You podcast, where every week you're invited to dream big, laugh often, and celebrate the extraordinary stories of those who inspire. Your story matters, and I love that for you. This podcast episode is sponsored by Turnkey Solutions Network. They are a family-owned and operated residential remodeling company serving the Charlotte and surrounding areas. This husband and wife team has years of experience and strive to ensure quality workmanship and customer satisfaction. I personally can attest to this because Daniel and Taylor came into my studio and helped me completely demolish a wall that stood in between two bedrooms and made it one large studio space. They did all of this work in 1 week. If you've seen my studio, it is insane. Taylor is ready to walk you through your project design step by step. From material and paint color selection to tile and cabinetry layout, you are never alone throughout this process. Taylor works closely with the installation crews to make sure your vision comes completely to life. Daniel, her husband, will manage your entire project from beginning to end. From getting materials on site and prepping before demo to installing the last mirror or shelf, you will have a member of their team checking in every step of the way. Turnkey Solutions Network also works with DIYers and other contractors through their retail store where you can source your materials at a competitive price. They carry an exclusive selection of tile and have an expansive collection of flooring and cabinetry options. Turnkey Solutions Network offers free estimates and can turn your dream into reality. Again, I've seen it happen in my own life. They can do it for you too. Give them a call at 704-441-7850 or find them on Facebook at Turnkey Solutions Network. And now let's jump into this episode with one of my best friends, Nicole Chrysler, founder of Evans Box. I love it. We're going. Nicole Chrysler, welcome to the Love That For You podcast.
Thank you.
I gave you about an 8-minute warning before you jumped on this podcast. So how does that feel?
Exciting, thrilling. I like to fly by the seat of my pants sometimes. So
sometimes, maybe not as
sometimes.
much as I do. But hey, listen, well, here's the deal though. It's not like I just randomly sprung this on you for the first time. We've been chatting about this for
True.
a while. Everyone listening, Nicole is one of my very good friends. She lives in Georgia. So we met when I was living in Georgia. And we were just talking before we pressed record. I don't even remember how we actually met. I don't know if it was at like a school or church function or what.
I was just trying to think about how we really started to become friends. And I think it was because of the Bible study that was at one of our other friends' house. Remember that? We were starting to do Bible study because that was before I had kids. And then I think that's when we really started kind of getting closer. And then after I had my son, Owen, definitely got closer through that because that was when you took your jump into your photography business. So you were home and we would hang out and you would watch Owen and stuff like that. So I think that's kind of really how it blossomed.
Yeah. Wow. And that was a crazy time too, because you had him right before COVID hit, right?
And it was in the height of COVID. Yeah. It was June 2020.
Yes.
So,
okay. So yeah. So I was home anyway. I had to be home.
Yeah. Yeah. So in the hospital was my first COVID test and all the things, and having a pandemic baby for my first child was interesting, but we made it and it was fine. It wasn't too bad.
Those were fun days when you would just bring him over and we would just hang out at my house.
And also he loved you, and he loved your cat, Cannon.
Yes. Well, here's the thing. He loved me, but he was a newborn then. And I've come to visit you kind of recently, and he's like, who is this person? He has no idea who I am. He's 4 now, but it's okay.
Consistent, or he's nah, stranger danger.
I'm the same way. Let's be honest. I'm the same way with people. Well, Nicole, I am so pumped that you're here because we could talk about friendship and all the things that we have gone through, and that would be a whole nother podcast. And maybe I should honestly have you on so we can just talk about all the things that we have gone through. Just hash it all out. It'll be our own little therapy session. But I specifically wanted to bring you on because a lot of people who are listening, you might not even realize that like you actually have heard of Nicole before, because she was our first sponsor for the Love That For You podcast with Evans Box. And it is something that is so incredible. And I told Nicole, I was like, I am so excited that you're a sponsor of the podcast, but also I need you to actually come on the show and like share with us, what is Evans Box? What are you doing? How can we be a part of this? It's such an incredible mission, and it's something that truly everyone, no matter where you live, everyone can be a part of it. So I'm just excited to hear more of your story behind Evans Box. And if you're listening and you have like no idea what we're talking about, don't worry, we're about to dive into it. But it's something that might even be familiar with a lot of our listeners. And it's something that, like a lot of things in life, it's something good that came from something hard. And it's not that we have to turn every trial and every difficult thing into a project or into a mission or into XYZ. But a lot of times, the most incredible things that people are doing in life are born out of a really difficult, hard time. And that's what Evans Box is. So I'm going to stop stealing the thunder and let you just share a little bit more about, just tell us a little bit, even before we get into Evans Box, share with us like who you are, like what you've kind of been doing in the past, as much or as little as you want, just about like who Nicole is. And then we can kind of get into the story of Evans Box.
Okay, loaded question. Well, my name's Nicole Chrysler, and I am a mom of two beautiful children. Owen will be 4 in June, and Isla will be 2 on Friday, actually.
It's
So,
crazy.
um, they are amazing. I've lived in Georgia all my life. Um, been married, I think I'm one of those people that doesn't know. Been married 5 years, I think, this year. 6 maybe, I don't know. I'm terrible at that. Um,
It's all right. You're too busy living and having fun.
Honestly, the days just fly by at this point.
Yeah.
So, um, I don't really know what else there is to say about me. Did I say I'm a stay-at-home mom? So I watch my kids full time.
We
Um,
love that. Shout out to all the stay-at-home moms out there. Y'all have
mhm.
the hardest job.
Preach, yes.
Every time I
Uh,
call you, like every time I call any of my mom friends, it's like, hold on, got to answer the kid. Hold on. And
yeah.
I'm just like, I don't know how these people do this. Wow.
It's a lot. It's a lot, but it's so rewarding at the same time. I mean,
Yeah.
very much like pro and con, right? Because there's things
Right.
that you sacrifice, but you also have these beautiful children, and I
Right.
mean, it's just, you know,
Right.
it's just great. I love it.
Yeah.
It's definitely
Yeah.
hard, but there's definitely a lot of great moments.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Share
it's
with
good.
everyone some of your like different hobbies and stuff that you've been involved with and have done over the years, because you're very much like a
Oh boy.
go-getter. Like you think of something and you're like, I'm going to do it. And then you do it and you like have done and created all these things. So share like some of your hobbies just in case someone relates.
Yeah, there's a word for that, and it's called hyperfixation, and that is what I do. I hyperfixate on things. I just really dive in, enjoy it, love it, accomplish it, and then I get bored and I'm like, what else can I do now?
Yep. Yep.
So, I mean, things that I've hyperfixated on would be like crafts, wood burning, crocheting, plants was my hyperfixation last year. I don't know what it's going
Mm-hmm.
to be this year. It's kind of turning into gardening and flowers.
Love that.
Um, yeah, just a lot of different stuff. Or if there's like projects that come up or like things at church or a friend's like, I really need to do this, but I don't know how. I'm like, done, let's do it. I got you. But yeah,
Yes.
hyperfixation. Think that's an ADHD thing, but that's okay.
Yeah. Listen, some of
I
the
mean,
best people,
kind
that's
of,
how they're doing it. That's how I'm doing it.
there you go.
I don't
Just
know what the
dip
next
my
thing is.
toe in
Yep.
everything.
Yep. Yep. I love it. I love
A
it.
lot of
That's
fun.
awesome. Okay. Well, share with us. So you're like already a crafty person. And it's been cool because I've been able to watch you like as you've done different things. And I mean, you're not just like doing a little bit of wood burning or doing a little bit of planting. Like you're creating the Etsy shops. You're actually like creating things for people. You're leaving things out on your porch for people to come pick up. You're shipping things out. So it's like you are maybe hyper fixating like for a season of a thing, but like you're also finding ways to monetize, which is so cool. And I love that. Seriously, you are the queen of Etsy. I don't, I tried doing crafting, like my
It's
sister and
hard.
I, yeah, my sister and I, we had a little company business called Golden Gray Designs. Do you remember this? This would have been when I was in Georgia, I
I
think.
I think I remember you mentioning it
Yeah.
once or twice.
And we would use our Cricut machines. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We we like made little labels for like essential oils because or essential oil
Yeah.
bottles because like it was that was huge. And like we did pretty well, but like honestly, my sister was the MVP of the Etsy shop and everything because all of that was like over my head. And I was like, this is not the part I enjoy. I don't like the details and the nitty-gritty part. I just like I'm the talent, okay? I'm the talent. I just want to do the thing.
Listen, that's how I hyperfixate on things is because I'm like I'm really good at this one part and I do that one part really well and then something comes up
Yeah.
where I get stuck and I'm like, okay, there's no one to
Yeah.
help me and then I move on. So that's kind
I
of
feel that.
I don't know if you're ready to jump into Evan's box, but you know, that's kind
Yeah.
of how Evan's box has moved forward today is because other people jumped in and helped and I was actually able
Yeah.
to move forward. So
Right.
that's what's pretty cool about that. But
Yeah, yeah, we can totally jump into it because that is something that I have seen too with Evan's box is it while when I first heard about it, I mean my gut reaction is like, "Oh, super cool, this is her next thing." And it is your next thing. But then it did not take long for me to be like, "Oh, this is actually something." Like not that your other things weren't something, but like this is
right,
like a
right.
very like missionally minded further than like your city in Georgia, like this is worldwide almost in a way. And then we can even talk about it like you posting videos on Instagram and TikTok and stuff going viral. And it's like we have something here. So yeah, and a lot of that is because so much of what makes people and businesses successful is when other people step in to help. And I've seen that with my own business too. It's
Hmm.
like, actually, I'm not good at this, so I'm going to need y'all to help me. I literally had this conversation the other day when I was trying to, for the love of me, figure out how taxes worked, and it has just been a nightmare.
Ooh,
Anyway, where it's
yeah, it's a
all
rough one.
we're good. We're good now, which is good. But like at one point I was literally saying like I take the pictures. I am good at taking the pictures. That is my lane
Yeah,
and I want to stay
shove
in my
this over
lane.
here. Yeah,
Yes,
you do
but
this,
you
I'll
were
do this.
exactly, but you were quick to find people and also people I feel like were quick to like find you and be like how can I help? So, yes, without further ado, let's jump in. What is Evans Box? How did you get started with it?
Okay, so big part of the story, we'll just talk about Evan. Um, well, I think first off, like you said, I mean, it is another project, yes, but like you said, it resonates with so many people, because 1 in 4 women have a miscarriage, and there are millions and millions of miscarriages like every year. So, I bet many women that are listening to this now can already relate just from that.
Mm,
Um, so last year, I got pregnant with my third, and I was 13. No, sorry, I was 16 weeks. I was going in for my 16-week appointment, um, just any other day, and they could not find a heartbeat, which wasn't totally surprising at first because at my last appointment, they couldn't find a heartbeat and they had to, bring in like a ultrasound machine and then they found it and everything was fine.
mhm,
So I was kind of freaking out, but kind of not because I was like, well, this has happened before. And then they brought in the ultrasound machine and there was no movement. And I knew without them even telling me that, the baby was gone. Um, so I called my husband immediately. He came to the hospital with the kids. We had a different ultrasound that just confirmed what we already knew. And they said that the baby was measuring around 13 weeks, so had passed a few weeks before. So then that night, my husband and I went to the hospital, started an induction process, and the next day, I was able to birth my baby. which is another topic I want to talk about in a minute.
Yeah.
Um, but it was then that we found out he was a boy. We did not know the gender yet. So we named him Evan James. Um, and he was 4 inches long, so he fit in my hand. So, if you hold out your hand right in front of you right now, that baby would fit in the palm of your hand.
Mm.
And he was 22 grams, which is less than an ounce. So he was very, very tiny. Um, very, I don't even know how to put this into words. Just obviously a very emotional experience, traumatic experience, beautiful experience at the same time. So many things rolled into one. Because that was our little boy, and he was beautiful. He was perfect. Um, he had, all his features, even at 13 weeks. So, all his fingers, his toes, eyes, ears, mouth, all of it. The most
Mm.
beautiful little feet. Um, and yeah, he was just perfect. And the hospital, um, sorry, what are they called? The bereavement counselor.
Mm-hmm.
She came in, and even before I birthed Evan, just came in and explained to us like kind of what to expect, what he would probably look like, just the process that we're going to go through. And she gave us a knit hat and blanket. Well, the blanket was crochet, but the hat was knit, from someone just in the community that had donated to the hospital. And they also had a little wrap for him, um, that again just fit in my hand, so that way the baby could be warm and clothed and not just kind of be naked in a sense. Um, so they took pictures of Evan and did everything they could to give us as many memories and keepsakes as possible, which was amazing. And so fast forward maybe about a week, um, I was just looking back through pictures that they had taken of Evan, just, thinking about him and just kind of grieving. And I noticed in one of the pictures that he had his hat on, and I couldn't even quite tell. I had to zoom in because it was so big. The hat was about the size of his entire body.
Hmm.
And that was a preemie hat for a preemie baby. But that was the smallest they had. So that kind of sparked my idea of, well, I wonder if I could make a hat smaller that would have actually fit Evan. So I did some research, tested some things out, and made a teeny, teeny, tiny hat. And then I thought, well, I wonder if I can make a wrap. And again, did research and figured out how to do that. And then made a little blanket. And I thought, maybe this is something I should do. Maybe I should donate items for other babies like Evan that are specific to their size. I know a lot of people donate to hospitals all the time. A lot of people donate to NICU, and that's great and that's amazing. But I was just very convicted for babies around 12 to 22 weeks because I
Mm-hmm.
don't think those babies are really thought of, which I had never thought of that either until it happened to me. So, and then coincidentally, I had been hosting crochet nights at my house the past like 2 months, teaching women in my church and my friends and neighbors how to crochet. And I texted them and I said, "Hey, I have a project for us to learn. I have a project for us to do." And so they were all on board. So we had our first crochet night, and um, my some of my family, my friends, my neighbors, people from all over came to support and to learn and to contribute to the very first Evans box. And I think it was in December that I donated my Evans box and took it to the hospital, where Evan was born. And that's just kind of how like my Evans box started. So it just started as a single box, with these very, very tiny items for, those really tiny babies that are born so they can be clothed and warm. And so the
Mm.
parents can have a keepsake for their child. And then let's see, in January, I think, I thought, well, I kind of just want to like start TikTok again, maybe see what happens. And I, I posted a video of myself just crocheting a tiny little hat, one of those POV videos.
Yep.
POV, you make a tiny hat because you lost your son and now you want all the little babies to have hats.
Mm.
I titled it something like that. And that's really what kicked it off. A lot of people started saying, well, how do I do this? Do you have patterns? I want to be involved. Can I donate a box to my hospital? Can I do it in your son's memory? Can I, this, and that? And just took off from there. And then I just started thinking, okay, well, I think this is starting to become a thing where people around the world want to help. And that's amazing because I want all the little babies to be clothed and warm. And I was talking to my neighbor about it, and I said, this is what's happening. And I was looking at trying to make a website today, and I am so stuck, and I just don't even know what to do. And that was my stuck point, right? So like I
Yeah.
hyperfixated on like we're crocheting all these things, we're making all these videos, we're telling the world, and then everyone's like, well, I need a website, and I need this, and I need patterns, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, well, now I'm stuck. And she goes, well, I can do that. I'm really good at that. I can make websites and I can do social media and all this stuff. And then it just blew up even further from there.
Mm.
So I guess long story long, that is Evan's box. Now we have
Yeah.
people all over the world starting their own Evans boxes. I think we're in I could be very wrong, so I don't want to give a specific number. I want to say between 10 and 20 are actually in hospitals right now. We
Okay.
probably have we probably have 40 that have like requested to put in their hospital, but we have not received confirmation that it has made it in the hospital yet. But even, I mean, even if only 2 boxes made it in the entire world, that's still babies being clothed. So it's the coolest
Right.
thing to me. It's very bittersweet because, obviously the implication of what you're donating is very sad, but it's also very, I don't know, just warm and
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just
Well,
great
and it's
too
just,
because I just
yeah.
yeah, I just want these babies to be like they are humans, they are babies, they are
Right.
someone's child
Yeah.
and they need to be treated with respect. And that's the other part of it too is through the process of TikTok and kind of gaining traction there. A lot of women reached out to me telling me their stories
Yeah.
filled with just neglect, treated terribly,
Hmm.
and that just broke my heart. Never seeing their child.
Hmm.
Kind of what I touched on earlier about being able to birth Evan, that was uh, a huge thing because that's not very uh it's not really heard of. Most people when they go in they have to have what's called a DNC, and
Mm-hmm.
that's a surgical procedure to remove um the baby. And I just asked my doctor if I could birth the baby. I said I just want to do everything I can to birth this child. If I have to have surgery after, that's fine, but I want to do everything I can to birth the baby.
Mm.
And I wound up being able to birth him. But many of these women just like on the bathroom floor, having their
Yeah.
children in bathrooms, being the children being taken off just, in little buckets, or the mother never seeing the child, no kind of respect for the mother or the baby, just another statistic, just another loss in the system. There's so many things wrong with that scenario. So, I mean, my goals for Evan's box are to make sure that every baby is warm and cozy, no matter how small,
Right.
to just kind of spread awareness of babies like this, because again, it was something I didn't know that happened. You just don't really think of
Right.
that, but it
Right.
is common. It happens to a lot of people. And then just to kind of by having these Evans boxes in hospitals change the mindset at this and the environment of the hospital and the healthcare workers, and just kind of reset that tone and give those mothers and babies and families the respect that they deserve, because that is a child, that
Yeah.
is a baby, that is,
Yeah.
you know, that is so personal, and just to be
Right.
treated like that is awful. So
Yeah.
I think, sorry, that was a lot, but
Yeah.
That's
No.
basically where we're at. So
Yeah, no, that was beautiful. Thank you for sharing all of that. Wow, I have so many thoughts and questions just from
go.
everything that you said. Okay, here we go. Well,
Well,
my,
sorry,
yeah,
let me add in there. Morgan was a part in this as well because I made several phone calls to her saying, "What should I do for social media? What do I do here? What should I do there?" And she also helped. And you've been posting it, with on your podcast and on your Instagram. So you've also been a huge help too. So I just have
yeah.
to say that because thank you. I love
Well,
you.
I love you too. And I mean, this is a world that I don't know really anything about.
Right.
Certainly before hearing your story and being like, okay, what do we do about this? And like wanting to help.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not a world that I'm familiar with. So the fact that, I mean, you even touched on it. It's like these people, when this is happening, a lot of times they're sent home with nothing. And it's already crushing to be sent home without your child, let
Right.
alone any sort of keepsake or something. So for someone who has experienced it to say like, hey, listen, I've actually been here too, and it's terrible. And I'm so sorry that you're finding yourself here, but here's something to remember your child by. Like, I just think that that is the most beautiful and grace-filled way to show love to people you don't even know. And like, you'll probably never meet these people that the nurse and the doctor is going to say, here, hey, here, I have something for you. Like, I don't know if you'll ever even get to meet those people.
Right.
But it's showing, I mean, that is true love. That is genuine love, and it's created from a place of experience, so like there's actual empathy there. So I just think it's the coolest thing that you're doing, and I also just feel like when there is a mission like this that is so selfless, I mean, your goal in this has never ever ever been to make money. And at some point, if you wanted to find a way to make money, I don't even think that's a problem. Like, nonprofits make money. Or for profit or whatever. Like, it's okay to make money, but that's not the driving factor of this mission. It is to help parents in their grieving of, of having these angel babies. I love that you call them angel babies. That's so sweet to me. So okay, this is incredible. Will you share with everyone where they can follow you and what your website is? Because I'm wondering if there are people who are either like, hey, I would love to reach out to Nicole and just chat with her because I actually have found myself here, or I have a friend who is experiencing the same thing and I would love to just chat with her. Or someone who's like, hey, I love to crochet and I would love to learn more about how I can get involved and to create my own Evans box. And this is not local to Georgia or North Carolina. This is for anywhere. It's actually, I think it's on your website too, Nicole, but you had talked about how you would love to see an Evans box in every state in the
Yes, that
US.
would be
Like,
so
how
cool.
cool would that be? And I think you have a chart on your website too, where it's
I
like,
do.
these are the
Hmm.
states that currently have Evans boxes in. So you could, when you share your website, people can even go and look and be like, oh, I'm in a state that doesn't have one. I should do one. Or if you're in a state that does have one, keep doing it. So I have a couple more questions, but go ahead and answer that one first. Where can people
Okay.
find you? What is your website?
Yeah. Okay. Lots to talk about. Um, like you said, even if there's already a box in your state, there are thousands and thousands of hospitals. I mean,
Yes.
I feel like we could never even get to the point where we could have one in all the places that they could be. So there's endless opportunities. I even had people tell me, well, you could do pregnancy resource centers and you could do funeral homes. So those are
Mm,
also options. I just donated my second box to a pregnancy resource center, and I'm working on a third box for another hospital and hoping to get a fourth box for the funeral home that we used for Evan. So, like I said, it's endless.
yeah.
You can go to our website. It is evansbox.org. There is a ton of information, my story, there are patterns. Oh, that was the other thing. It's not just crochet. There are knit patterns, there are sewing patterns.
Wow.
Really trying to, make it available for several crafting areas so a lot of people can get involved. Um, so the way the process works as well is you go through our website and you request an Evans box decal, and that will go on your box and it says Evans box. And part of the decal um, are little feet, and they're actually Evans feet. I trace them from a picture that we took of Evan's feet. So it's very important to me that that is on the box.
Mm,
And then you can be in charge of that box yourself. You can get a group together, you can get friends together. So that way it's not so overwhelming. But
yep.
also, I've had people say, I don't really want to be in charge of a box, but I really want to help. And so people mail me stuff. So I get stuff in the mail. I've gotten hats, wraps, blankets in the mail. And that's also great because, like
Hmm.
I said, I'm trying to do two other boxes. So,
Right.
um, okay. What was your other question?
Well, and I'm also thinking too,
Evansbox.org.
yeah, and I'm also thinking too of people who are like, I am just not a crafty person, so that's not going to be my journey, but I'd love to help and give. Is there a place where people can give? Because you are out here purchasing supplies to create. So I'm sure that that would be a huge burden off of you if people could just help support financially.
Yeah, we have a spot on our website where you can donate. Um, like you said earlier about making money, it's kind of different than a lot of other nonprofits because we rely on other people to create these items, to donate these items. It's not like we
Yeah.
make them ourselves and pass them out. But we do have expenses, website costs. The PO box alone is more expensive than you think. Things come
Ugh,
up.
yes.
But we do also, I did want to mention, for people that have had a loss and never received anything from a hospital, they can go to our website. Again, that's evansbox.org, and they can request a keepsake. It's a tiny little hat. So you just give us
Oh,
a little bit of
awesome.
information. You can tell us, if you know the gender, how many weeks the baby was, and then you can pick a color, and we will make and mail you a hat. So we do buy yarn
Wow.
to make those. My mom and I make those items and ship them out.
Hmm.
I had 5 or 6 requests just last week, all from the UK. So
Wow.
I
Okay.
think people were chatting over in the UK.
Yes. We love it.
um, Yeah, so yes, we have a spot to donate on our website. Spreading the word is huge because you never know who might be interested in doing that.
Right.
I spoke at a American Heritage Girls Troop meeting last Thursday, basically like Girl Scouts, but yeah, they were trying to earn their Faith Badge Award. So they had to pick an organization and help the organization in some way, and they picked Evans Box. And I went to that meeting with one hat, one wrap, and one blanket because I had just donated everything else I had. And I came back home with a box full of stuff that all those girls
Wow.
and their parents had made. And it was very cool. I had sewn things, knit things, crochet things. It was very, very cool. And the
Wow.
girls were very excited to give me those items, and they were so, so sweet. So, lots of ways that you can get involved. You can share, you can donate, you can make stuff yourself. You can request a keepsake for people that that have been through loss. It is a huge, huge like healing component for a lot of
Yeah.
people. I've had a lot of women message me and say, "Hey, I got my hat today," and I just feel so like much more complete, and just
Yeah.
like the healing process is just like continuing and getting better because I have something for my child. So
Right. It's
it's just a
perfect.
lot.
Yes.
It's
Well,
overwhelming, but it's great.
yes. Well, I was going to ask you next what do you need anything additionally from us? Like what can we help with? Are there more people that are is there like additional your website's covered, you have people helping like with social media, but like is there additional things that you need that if someone's listening they can be like, "Oh, I have that person," or "Oh, I can do that," or "I know what resource to use," or "I know what software program to use," or "I have a connection to a hospital." Like is there anything like that that you still need that maybe someone listening could help with?
um
Or maybe it's just all
I
of the above that I said.
I mean, maybe kind of. Yeah, I think our website is doing really well. I love what we have, and I don't really think we need any help there. Um I think if someone wanted to kind of So my neighbor and friend does all of the social media. I do TikTok. I took a break for a couple months just to continue my grief process as
It's a
well.
yeah,
And yeah, and I'm going to be jumping back into it soon. But she handles Facebook and Instagram and posts every day and just does and runs the website and does a lot behind the scenes. And she also has three children of her own.
wow.
So I think maybe if there is someone out there that out of the kindness of their heart that really just supports our mission and understands, what we're trying to do and just the love that we want to spread to people would want to help with like social media, like, just get social
Right,
media posts ready and we can schedule them and they can, be
right,
sent out. I think that would be super helpful. I really love, again, bittersweet because it's emotional, but also I really love sharing my story. I really loved sharing it with that girls troop. And I also spoke at my mom's church a couple months
mm,
back. And even now. So, just if anyone is interested in kind of, collaborating and just kind of sharing
yes,
stories or just kind of,
yeah,
spreading the word, I mean that is huge. Again, no one ever wants to ask for money, and honestly, I don't need buckets and buckets of it. But as two stay-at-home moms that run this, we can't pay all of it out of our
right,
pockets.
right, right,
So donations are greatly appreciated for the yarn, for the website costs, the PO box, the shipping labels,
yeah,
stamps, all of that stuff. But
yes, yeah,
I think that's really what we need right now.
yeah,
I mean, obviously, I would love to just find more people that want to start their own boxes.
hmm,
Um, I think, like I said earlier, I think some people find it kind of a large commitment, but honestly, if you get a decent sized box, and you'll see pictures on my website of what I have, so it's not huge. You fill that box, you probably won't have to fill it. I took mine back in December and I've never refilled it, which is a blessing, but also it's
yeah,
there if needed. So I
right,
feel like it's not a huge, huge commitment. Um, but we do want you to take care of it. So
yeah,
keep
right,
it full, keep it going, but definitely looking to get in multiple states and just anywhere we can to help all of
yeah.
those
I
babies and
have a
families. So,
Yeah, I have a very practical question. How does
okay.
somebody who wants to donate to their local hospital, what does that look like? Like, am I literally taking the box and just walking inside and walking up to the desk and being like, "Here, I want to donate this." Like, is it as simple as that, or do we go in without the box first and ask, or how does that practically look?
Okay. Yes and no. I do have a page on my website that says how to start your own Evans box, and all the steps are listed right there. But in a nutshell, I suggest getting in contact with the bereavement or grief counselor of the labor and delivery unit. That's a good place
Okay.
to start because
Okay.
typically a hospital has that person and they're going to be, dealing with those families.
Sure.
Um, I've had other people just reach out to like nurses they already knew in the hospital. Like if you already have a connection, that's fine as well. But if you don't have a connection, that's a good place to start. Or sometimes even the chaplain. Some people have connected with the chaplain
Okay.
and they kind of you want to find someone in the hospital that will take care of the box, right? So like it's your
Yes.
box that you take care of, but then also someone in the hospital needs to take care of it because what we don't want to happen is that it gets shoved in a corner or they're like, oh yeah, thank you, okay, no, we're not using this, because we
Right.
want it to be
That's good.
used. So someone that you feel like will actually put it to good use.
Right.
um but I've had people go several different ways. I've had people email, I've had people call. Um,
Okay.
my mom, for example, was just nervous talking over the phone. And I said, Mom, just take your box. And like you said, just walk in, go into the labor and delivery unit, explain what you've got, explain what it's for. And if they say no, then they say no. You tried, you could try a different hospital or the funeral home. And if they say yes, then great. It's all right there, and now the hospital has it. So
Yeah.
it's not really one set answer.
Right.
So you have to put a little bit of time into it, but I can help you. You can always reach out to me and I can kind of guide you
Yeah.
through that process as well. But whatever you feel comfortable with, We just need to have a contact person in the hospital. So that way, each year we're going to be following up with the hospitals and just saying, hey, is your Evans box still there? Is it being
Yeah.
filled? And just kind of quality control on that. So,
Yeah.
but that's pretty much the process.
Okay,
So,
perfect. That's super helpful. And I'm even thinking too, like for everyone listening, like maybe we can make it a podcast episode goal of like, if you are listening to this episode right now, think of one person that you could share this episode with and send it
mm,
to them and just be like, hey, I just thought you would enjoy this, or I thought you'd be encouraged by this, or hey, listen to this. This might be something that you could be able to help with. Like if one person sent it, if each person sent it to one person, like that could be astronomical too, of
oh,
just like
yes,
so much of this is just spreading awareness.
it really
So
is.
that's a podcast listener for Love That For You goal. If you're listening to this, just think of one person that you can literally just copy the link and send this episode to. But that is so helpful. And I love that you have everything written out on your website as well. So you shared your website, evansbox.org. You are also on Instagram. Is it Evansbox on Instagram? That's the handle.
It is, it is Evans dot box.
Okay, perfect. And then if people are fearless TikTokers do want to follow you, you actually are a quality TikTok follow. You're not going to be like, bless TikTok. We love it. Bless. Do we love it? I don't know. But if you're going to be on TikTok, you need to follow Nicole. That is a worthy account to follow. So what is your TikTok handle?
Okay, my TikTok handle is Mama Drama 7399. I've debated back and forth, changing it to Evans Box, but I kind of just keep it Mama Drama because the original people that helped me get to where I am
We
know me
love
as
Mama
Mama
Drama.
Drama. So I just keep it as that. But I also, it's kind of just, it's not like officially Evans Box stuff. It's kind of just like my creative outlet in a sense too.
Yeah.
So like I post like mom videos and whatever. And again, I've been off of that for a few months, just, healing and
Yeah.
all that stuff.
But
But I'll
there's
be getting back
still
into it soon.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
even though you haven't been posting super recently on it, there's still incredibly like informative content on here's how
Yes.
to crochet this and here's how to do
Yes.
this. Like it's very instructional. So they're very like if you have a question, odds are it's either answered in a TikTok video or on the website.
Yes.
So and I love how like thoughtful and intentional you are in your posts too. So, well, Nicole,
Well,
this
a
has
lot of that,
been yeah,
oh,
go
sorry.
ahead.
No, you're fine.
No,
I was just
I
gonna say a lot of it a lot of it has come from people through tech. I would do several lives and they would
yeah.
say, oh, hey, you should consider doing this or you should add this to your website or you should do that. So again, I mean, all the way back to the beginning of this podcast, it has been a group effort. I mean, I've had
Yes.
so many people, you know, like really just helping along the way. So yeah, if you have any questions, you can definitely pour through evansbox.org. There is so much information there. And then my email is also evansbox at myyahoo.com. So feel free
Okay.
to email me, even if you just want to share your story, the safe space to do that as well. Um, but yeah,
And
here for
I will
you.
share all of that, your email and all of the links in the show notes too. So if you're like driving and listening to this, you can go to the show notes later and just click and be taken to all the places. So we'll include all of those. So
Sounds
yeah,
good.
the only question I was going to ask is there anything else we need to talk about? Because I feel like we've covered a lot of ground, but I want to make sure that that we've like completely exhausted this topic.
I mean, I think that's it. I mean, I could probably ramble on about it forever,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that is it in a nutshell. It is very close to my heart, and I think it's, you know, becoming close to other people's hearts as well. I think
Mm,
I definitely started the Evans box and crocheting those items as part of my healing process, as part of
yeah.
my coping mechanism. And I think other people seeing this now too are saying, "Oh, well, I know how to crochet, knit." So
Yeah.
I feel like this would be healing for me as well. So I think, if you want to get involved, I am very
Yeah.
excited to help you get started. So,
Yeah, no, and I think I'm glad that you brought that up because it's not just well, this happened to me and so I'm going to create good out of it. It very much is that, but it's not just that. Like it is a part of your grieving and your healing, and there are so many people who are hurting and grieving from either a scenario similar to this or even something completely different. And I think the message you're sending is like we have to take care of ourselves. We have to get ourselves back to a healthy place. And for you, it was like, what can I do to help other people? And what can I do to also just help myself heal? And like creating these hats and blankets is a very healing thing for you. And I feel like you
Mm-hmm.
are coming out of this stronger and healthier as a woman, as a mom of for your two kids. And like, it's just, it is healing other people and it's also healing yourself. So I think that that's a good message too for anyone who's listening, who's hurting right now, is like, hey, what do you need right now? Do you need to pause? Do you need to go somewhere? Do you need to start something? That's okay. It's, I think for me, it's easy to avoid my pain, and by avoiding it,
Mm-hmm.
I chase something, and that's not necessarily the answer. But there is healing in saying, okay, well, what can I do to either put my mind to work, or for you, like you're putting your hands to work? Like, what can I do with my hands to help heal? So I think that that could just be a message of encouragement for someone of like, what do you need right now to help heal yourself? And in turn, when you are your healthiest self, you're going to bless other people around you, which is exactly what you're doing with this mission. And now everyone else who is wanting to help with this mission, they are doing that too. They're helping themselves and other people. Like, it's just so cool, the message of hope, how that can carry so quickly, and it just has to start with one person. So,
Mm-hmm.
and you've done that, my friend. Like, pat yourself on the back. Like, it is just so cool to see. Yeah, just to see like how, I mean, even how like God has worked through you in this way, like you never, I would assume, would have written your story to be what it is today. But yet
Right.
you're using so much of this to be like, well, it's not what I would have written, but I'm going to take it and I'm going to run with it and I'm going to make it the best I can. And I can see that very tangibly in you. So
Yeah.
you're
Well, I also feel like a lot of people, a lot of people are similar in my situation, but don't feel like they can talk about it, and that's okay. You don't have to
yeah,
talk about it.
sure.
And I am just a very open person, and I feel comfortable talking about it. And I just kind of want to be that voice for the people that don't feel like they can't, like, they want to bring awareness to it. They want people to know, what happened. They want people to
Yeah.
acknowledge their baby and stuff, but it's hard. So, I'm also trying to help
Yeah.
people that can't quite voice that. Um,
Yeah.
and hopefully I'm doing an okay job, but
Yeah. I think you're
yeah.
doing better than okay, but yes. Well,
Well, thank you.
we're about to take a hard right turn here.
Okay.
Because nearing the end of this podcast, there is a question, and because we're going to end this in true Enneagram 7 fashion, we're going to end this on a happy, fun, laughable
All
note.
right. All right.
I have to know what you're loving right now. What is something that you
Oh
are
boy.
loving? The show's called Love That for You. So I have to know what you're loving right now.
I don't know if this is the answer you're gonna want.
I want whatever answer you give.
Okay. Well, broadcast it now. I am currently 14 weeks pregnant. Um, and like you didn't
Woohoo!
know, but actually you didn't because you just
Shh.
found out yesterday.
That's true. That's true.
So things that I'm loving right now are Coke and burgers and fried and just food. I'm just loving food, and I'm loving
Ah,
summer, and I'm loving warm weather and being
yeah.
outside. So I'm just, you know,
Wow.
I'm loving that food. I'm loving the
Yeah.
weather. I'm loving God's creation and just
Yes.
time with my family, just all the things. But
Yeah.
that is
Have
that is
you
what I love
found
right now.
Have you found that your like pregnancy cravings have been pretty similar each time, or are they different each time, or is it dependent on the weeks that you are pregnant? How does that work? I need to prepare myself.
I would say um well, I might be a weird one. Each of my pregnancies has gotten easier. With
That's
my
great.
first, my nausea was like insane, and this one I have barely had any nausea, which has been great.
Wow,
I
that's
would say
great.
my cravings are pretty much the same. Like I always want the worst food possible for you. And
Yeah.
my husband is always like, "Are you sure you should be eating those things? Like the baby needs nutrients." And I'm like, it's fine, it'll be right." But like burgers, Cokes, fries. This time I've been craving avocados. I'm eating an avocado like every single day.
That's
I
great.
love avocado. Usually, I haven't yet. And I'm trying really hard not to. No, wait. No, I did. Those family size bag of Skittles, down those in like 2 days. I
This
thought
is a
I hadn't
judge-free
this
podcast.
time, but
There's no judgment
yeah.
here. We've all been there.
So, yeah, so I would say that my pregnancy cravings are pretty consistent, which makes it
Okay.
a little bit harder because I never know if it's a boy or girl because I have a
Yeah.
boy and a girl, and it seems like each
Yeah.
pregnancy is the same except for the nausea part. So,
Okay.
but everyone's
Okay.
different.
Yeah, that is fascinating. So it sounds like your
Fun
pregnancy
fact.
cravings are just what I crave every day. So I'm really
Pretty
looking
much.
forward to someday if I ever have the chance to be pregnant, I'm just going to be doing me. Just
I
same
think
old.
the difference is like I crave those things every day of my life, but when I'm
Yes.
pregnant, I give into it. So like,
Yeah, okay.
you know, I'm
Okay.
I'm constantly stopping for Cokes and fries and burgers and
Yes.
candy and
And I
whatever. But when
feel
I'm
like
not pregnant,
right. And I
I
feel
try
like
to curb it.
the stereotype for like pregnancy cravings is like, you're like, oh my goodness, I need an avocado and I need one right now. Like, it's like an immediate, like, I am craving this
Oh.
right now in this moment. If somebody doesn't get me an
hmm
avocado in the next 7 minutes,
It's
mama
the
not gonna be
most
happy.
irrational rage because I had that feeling when I was pregnant with Evan. In the beginning, one night I was just sitting on the couch and I was like, I want salsa so bad. I want chips and salsa. And I looked at my husband. I said, please, please go get me some chips and salsa. And it was like super late. I don't think anything was open or like,
Yeah.
I don't know. But it was one of those
Right.
things where it's the most irrational thing because you're literally on the verge of tears until you eat that said item. And luckily, his grandma had canned some salsa and it was in our pantry. Downed
Won't he
that
do it?
thing. I mean,
Wow.
but yeah, it's the most bizarre feeling because obviously as a human you crave things every so
Yeah.
often. You're like, oh
Yeah.
man, I'd really like that. But man, when you're pregnant, you're like, I have to have it or I don't know what's gonna happen. Like everyone better clear the room.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my goodness. That's amazing.
It's so
Great
bizarre.
answer. Yeah,
Mm,
great answer.
yeah, good times, good times.
Well, what I'm loving, thank you for asking, is I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. No, I was
But
just
I
going to
do
say
want to
what
know.
well, I was just going to say I don't always share what I'm loving on my own podcast. I feel like I have been
Awesome.
lately, but no, I was just going to say what I'm loving is the fact that I'm going to see you in a couple months.
That's right. Not
This is
not a
what I'm
couple months.
loving.
It's
A month.
like yeah,
In a
like
month-ish? Month and a half? I don't know. Month
a
and a
little yeah,
week?
about a month and a half.
We'll
Yeah,
start a countdown clock timer.
we'll have our own personal little chat there.
I can't wait to see you, friend. I love
I
you.
know it's gonna be so
Oh,
great. It's gonna be
yeah.
so great.
Well,
Good
Nicole, thank
time.
you for coming on the pod to talk about you and Evan's box and all the things. It's so cool seeing like all of your friends like have families and have businesses and like make an impact in the world. Like it's our time, and it's
It
cool.
is.
I feel very blessed that I have just a wealth of people that are just making a difference and like choosing the hard path but not succumbing to it and just sticking with it and not being bogged down by the hard times but getting stronger through it, and you are one of those people, so it really means a lot that you would come and share your story.
Well, thank you for having me. Like I said, I love talking about our story and I love sharing it. And I also want to say that you are also one of those people, Morgan, because I have watched you grow tremendously the past couple
Mm.
of years. I mean, even just again, going back to way, way beginning of this podcast, just kind of how we met and how we started. You were in Georgia, you had just decided to quit your job and do this full time, and seeing you from there to now is absolutely incredible. So
yeah.
Love that for you.
Ah, what a way to end the podcast. Absolutely perfect. Thanks for listening to this episode, friends. If you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share the love with your friends and family. Remember, life is all about the stories we create and share, so let's keep spreading inspiration and positivity. See you next week.